Hey folks, it's Lindsay Setchell here from HM and HM International School of Horse and Hoof Care, and I am on day 22, I think, of going live on Facebook twice a day and putting all these videos up on YouTube too. So if you miss any of them, you can go and catch them up on YouTube. And for everybody watching on YouTube, hello. So I want to very quickly this evening, before I go live on the main show on the Phoenix group, I want to talk to you about a subject that's coming up a lot at the moment. So I want to talk to you about toe removal, leaving toes, and the middle ground, because an awful lot of people are coming forward and saying that leaving the toe is too much. They can't deal with it. It looks wrong. Surely the horse is going to be having problems, even though we have proved now with our case studies time and time and time again that it doesn't cause the horse any problems whatsoever. And it means that horses are going to rehab safer, faster, quicker. Hi, Angela. And I'm going to explain that again in a second. But then those people that have never done that, they've never done that. They just assume that horses are going to be like that, when in actual fact they're not. But okay, so then we have the other extreme where we completely have the toe removal, which I have to say is geared very much from the veterinary medical side of things, because of the veterinary industry, or the veterinary side of things, because, get it right, Lindsay, because they see a long toe on an x-ray and immediately they want to take it off. They don't look at the heels. They don't see the heels. They don't see that as being an issue, mainly because they're not hoof care professionals themselves. And then they don't see the damage that can be caused by removing the toe. And then we have some people in the middle who are like, I don't want to be in the long toe camp. I don't really want to be in the chop the toe off camp, but I kind of want to be somewhere in the middle, because if I'm in the middle, I can sort of just kind of explain that to my clients that they're not going to see this horrible long toe growing out, and I'm still not going to chop it off and it's all going to be fine. Well, I want to explain something to you. So here I've got a slide already ready for you. Let me just talk about this. So here we have a foot with a long toe. The heel is a little bit high. So you can see that the palmar angle of P3 is also a little bit high. And we can see here that the hoof distal phalanx distance, that's the distance between the face of the distal phalanx here, if you like, and the hoof wall, is increasing as you go down. So immediately that this horse would be x-rayed, the very first thing that would be required would be to take away the toe. They wouldn't really think about the heels very much. It would be all about removing the toe. I want you to look very closely under here. Can you see that underneath this P3, which is already in the past remodeled itself a little bit, probably because this horse has been going through many changes with its hoof care over the years, almost definitely, because that's what we come across all the time, that horses don't just suddenly look like this and they've always been like this. They've gone through lots of different iterations of what their feet look like, depending on the hoof care professional, the vet, the farrier, the trimmer, whoever's been going, because they're doing it trimming to what we call personal preference trimming. So I just want you to look under here. Can you see there's a gap? All right. You can see clearly that the sole, which is wanting to arch, is arching here. So this P3 is not under direct pressure. On flat ground and in soft ground, it would be okay. And it's not going to be on direct pressure under the tip of P3. However, it's got a long toe. Well, you can see here, you can see just this gray area here. Well, that's showing you that that's because we've got some lamellar wedge, that is where the delineation of the hoof wall is effectively. And so the hoof wall is divided into two. You've got the outer and you've got the inner. Now, the inner hoof wall currently is just about in play on the ground here. There's been a roll put on and it's just about in play. I have to tell you that this is not one of our x-rays, but it's good for illustrations. So the vet immediately, and anybody else looking at this, the farrier, another trimmer perhaps, would go, oh my goodness, you've got to take the toe off. Why is question number one. Well, you're going to take the toe off because you're afraid that this is going to tear more. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. We've proved that time and time and time again. You get the hoof trimmed to the hard sole plane, you change the diet and management, and this healing angle just comes right on in and grows out all of this. But I want you to realize that if you took the toe off as per shortening it as they would like to, they would have to remove this entire area here, at which point then this whole area becomes compromised and the horse then starts walking on their sole. And you can see quite clearly here, the moment that that pillar of support is changed from up here to back down here, that's going to cause this horse a lot of problems with the pressure going through to P3. And plus at the moment, because we still have this rather high palmar angle, it's probably not too crazily high for this horse, but it is still causing P3 to walk around on its tip. And you can see that it has been remodeling itself and it's gone kind of flat there. So the heels need to be addressed to the hard sole plane, but that's easy. But now you've removed that toe, now you have a problem because it's going to take forever for this hoof wall to get itself down to the ground because you've just shut down the feedback up to the papillae that are up in the coronary band. So that's why it would be a very bad idea to take that toe off and to believe that this is all down to mechanical laminitis and therefore it's going to be torn. It isn't. It isn't. We've got to get over this fear of these long toes and we've got to critically assess these x-rays far more. This is good that we have this on the ground. It's feedback and you can clearly see it is allowing it's stopping the sole from being in direct contact on a flat surface. So what's the middle ground that everybody talks about? Well, they don't want to leave the long toe like the long toe people and they don't want to take it away like really short. So where's the middle ground? Well, the middle ground would be to remove this section here and to allow the horse just to completely remove the inner hoof wall from being on the ground, because there is no other way. If you trim it to the hard sole plane and you put the inner hoof wall on the ground, it's there. The middle ground is to completely remove that, maybe not come all the way up here, of course, then you've done something else, because just here is a lamellar wedge that both of these are in play with. Now, this lamellar wedge, as you can see, it's a different kind of color to what's here. It's brighter. And this here doesn't look quite as bright. Now, this lamellar wedge is a confused mass of tissue, but it's not hard. It's soft. So it's pliable. It's flexible. You can push it with your thumb and your fingers and it will indent as you do so. When that actually happens and you remove the hard part of the foot off the ground, you're now relying on a part of the foot that is in fact too soft. Mother Nature never designed the white line to be walked on, and the lamellar wedge is a confused version of the white line. So what do you do here? Well, once you've taken the toe away, again, you've got that issue with the feedback slowing down the growth, and then everybody thinking that the heels are going too fast, when in actual fact they're not. They're going at the right pace. The growth rate, it's just that the hoof wall is now slowed down. So now we're on to the lamellar wedge, which you can push with your thumb. It's soft. That is not going to keep this area from having any contact, because this will be depressed. This will start to be depressed, and gradually this starts to get contact. There is no middle ground. Everybody has to get over the ugly toes. They really do need to get over this, because this is a process of rehab and they need their pillar of support. No middle ground. You either leave the pillar of support or you don't. And for those people who tell you that it's okay to chop all this off because the pillar of support is back here on the sole, no, it isn't. And I hope you can see that. And just while we're on the subject, this is what happens to an animal who has had their toes removed. And let me just check that you can still see that. Yeah, okay. This was when this horse was shod. Can you see how high the heels are? Can you see how high the palmar angle is? This pony was sort of labeled laminitic, and so therefore we just stick it in a shoe and then we're going to cure it. We're not going to cure it because you've allowed the heels to go up and up and up. And P3 is now on its tip. And you can see it's remodeling it, and it's got a ski tip. Sorry about that one being out of focus. But you can see that the whole foot has gone up. Then when they take the shoes off, because they don't want the shoes on anymore, as this is only a little pony, we end up with this situation. So these are the same pony within 2 years of each other. The shoe came off. It was already in the wrong position. The shoes came off. Now look at the state of the tip of P3. Can you see? Can you see how it has really broken down, how it's completely remodeled because it's been walking around on this area here? Because once they took the shoe off, they then took the toe off, and there was no toe wall on the ground. They're looking for that middle ground possibly, and or not, and just toe removal. And now P3 is, the pressure is totally through this part of the sole. Why can't people see it? Now, there's been absolutely zip all research on osteonecrosis because it's been written off as type 2 laminitis. It isn't. This is caused by incorrect hoof care. You can still see that the heels are still high, but by taking off the toe, now what they have done is reduced the amount of sole depth underneath here, compounding the problem. Why do people think this is a good idea? It isn't. And the vet, when this was x-rayed, the vet turned around to the owner, did not mention the heels, and said, more toe needs to be removed. What? Why would you remove more toe to force P3, which is already hugely compromised, almost remodeled back and reabsorbed back to the terminal arch? Why would you do that? Crippling this pony even more. And then this was the result. This is the same pony. Look how horizontal the coronary band is. They haven't addressed the heels because the vet said, no, you don't need to address the heels. And so they took off more toe. Can you see? Pushing this poor pony straight onto the area that was already agonizing because they were walking around on their sole. You can see the pony's always trying to heal, but they can't. And you see these diverging rings? That's all because they've removed this toe and slowed down that growth rate, making them think that the heels are growing too fast. No, they've just allowed the heels to compact. They've removed the toe, caused the horse to walk around even more so on the already horrendously compromised P3 because of a reckless decision by the professionals who tell you to remove more toe. That is reckless, utterly reckless. And I hope you can see that. All because of this spurious claim of lever forces. This pony with the chopped off toes and the high heels is actually in a far worse position than this horse here with its what looks like an extremely long toe because it's got support. Can you see that? I hope you can see that. Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen. Yeah, it's not good, right? Sarah's here. Hello, Sarah. Dom's here. Ouch. Right. Dom says, can you imagine what that might feel like to the poor horse? You can see it, Dom. They send us images and videos all the time, and they're trying to get off that tip, and then they have no choice. Imagine, and we should never do this, of course. We shouldn't really associate our feet with horses' feet. But imagine you had to walk around on the ball of your foot all the time. That pressure constantly. Now, they try and callus that area of the sole. They really do try to. But unfortunately, because now that professional has got no balance point from the heel to the toe, just keeps taking more sole off, more sole off. More, because they don't know, they're guessing, they have no clue. And yet the horse with the long toe was safe. That was a safe P3. And then that just had to grow out, get that heel down to the HSP and grow out. It's incredible. Oh my God, says Angela. Just arrived. What terrible hoof care. Yes, it is the explanation of the lammy stance trying to get off the tip of P3. Yeah. And you know what, Dom? They say, oh, no, they're leaning back to stop the tearing. Well, they're leaning, yes, the hoof wall's out, you know, here, and P3's here, but they're now onto their tip. So they're trying to get the bony column back into an alignment because P3's been put down on the tip. It is so crazy, honestly. And then people will just say, oh, you know, you should just quieten on down. Don't get loud on social media. Don't talk about this. How many horses and ponies have I seen, even just in the last few months, the last 2.5 months that the Phoenix group has been live on Facebook? How many have I seen? A crazy amount. And not just me, everybody else in the Phoenix group too. If you're in there, you've seen it. It is outrageous. Just because they don't like a long looking toe, it's in a rehab, guys. You are rehabbing it safely by allowing P3 to be protected. It looks long and you think it isn't helping. There's no middle ground. You can't just chop off the wall and go, he can walk around on his lamina now, on his lamellar wedge. You can't do that. Because the second that you do that on that soft lamellar wedge, it will effectively get compressed, pushed together, and eventually, because it's soft, until eventually the sole is the thing that is supporting that horse. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And there needs to be a rethink, a huge rethink, because that horse right there, that little pony, will end up losing his life. And why will he end up losing his life? Because he can never get P3 back. And the first x-ray right at the beginning with the shoe, they should have gone, oh my goodness, heel's too high, putting P3 in a hyperpositive position. Let's just get it down to the hard sole plane. Let's stop that compaction. And the pony could have at least had a chance. But no, the toe just kept coming off, and the toe just kept coming off, and the toe just kept coming off, thinning that area under P3 and causing P3 to walk around on its tip. It's maddening, and it's got to stop, guys. Got to stop. Hi, just started to research into this type of hoof care. Vet wanted my laminitic mare's toe off. Farrier said no. He did chop her toe, and now she's so sore. Join the group. Brilliant. Join the group. It's got to stop, guys. You have got to stop saying, oh, it looks awful. Take the toe off. What's going to happen to P3 if you do that? It isn't type 2 laminitis that's caused P3 to completely be reabsorbed. It's wrong. Got to stop. Got to stop it. Okay, that was it. That was what I wanted to say. There's no middle ground. You either leave the hoof wall on the ground, the inner hoof wall, to get that much needed feedback and that pillar of support proven by that x-ray, or you remove it, pop the horse onto the lamellar wedge, no good at all, or you completely remove it and you just forget the lamellar wedge entirely and just dump the horse onto their sole. Meanwhile, not addressing the heels. Crazy, crazy. People have got to start thinking and stop knee-jerk muscle memory. Oh, you just take the toe off. Oh, it just looks long, take the toe off. Stop it. Stop it now, because there are too many horses dying and suffering from osteonecrosis. It's sickening. Okay, sorry. I just needed to have that little rant. I do apologize. This evening, in about 20 minutes, Gary and I are going live on the Phoenix group. We're going live, and I don't know what we're going to talk about this evening. We talk about lots of interesting things every evening. All the lives, a bit of a lag, get put up on YouTube. Go and watch them. Must do, and it's not rocket science lesson too soon. But in case you haven't noticed, we're a little bit busy now. So many people desperate because they're going, oh my God, it's taken the toe off. I read on Facebook, I should shut up now. I read on Facebook the other day that somebody well known on Facebook said, oh, they're just using the words chop the toe off just because it's a marketing ploy. I'm sorry. Go back Just rewind this video, rewind it and go and have a look, a big, careful, critical look at that pony's foot. Then tell me that chopping the toes off is a bit too strong a word. Stop the chop. It's got to stop, guys. It's got to stop. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you. You are in the right place. That's to Molly. Absolutely, Molly. We can help you. Don't ever apologize for teaching us. Hi, Bonnie. Come on, Phoenix Warriors. We're changing the world. I'll see you in the Phoenix group, 8 p.m. UK time this evening, mid-afternoon in North America, morning in Australia and New Zealand. I'll see you then, Phoenix Warriors. We'll change the equine world, even if nobody else is listening. See you there.